Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest This is the Music Meets podcast. For episode 74, I'm delighted to be joined by one of the UK's finest songwriters in Jack Rasmussen. Over the course of the latest podcast, we're going to discuss Jack's latest single, Round in Circles, having his music played on the Kick Out the Jams documentary, and mental health, and much, much more. So, Jack, welcome along to the This is the Music Meets podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing?
No, thanks for having me. I'm all good. All good. I've had a weekend full of gigs, so it's been good. Getting back to it after being away. So yeah, I'm all good, mate. All good.
Great stuff. And where were those gigs, and what were they, like a festival type thing, or were they your own gigs, or what was it?
Yeah, so I had a local one at a brewery close to me, my hometown, called the Steam Machine, which was good. So it was like a mix of covers and then my own stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it was quite a good turnout. That was good. And then I supported Oscar Blue in Newcastle on Monday, which was good as well. So it's been good to get back playing live because I've been away for so long. So it's getting back into the groove with it and stuff like that. A little bit rusty, but we'll get there.
Definitely, I'm sure that you will, mate. And yeah, it's obviously great as well to see you're back playing out live again. And kind of like for the listeners that don't know, obviously you released your new single, Round in Circles. It came out on the 7th of July. It's a fantastic track. I've really enjoyed listening to it when it first come across, and subsequently on each listen since then. It's obviously quite vulnerable and sort of emotional in places as well. So can you kind of like give us a little bit of insight, a little bit of background into the song, and sort of kind of like how it all came about, really?
Yeah, it's a funny one because I went over to Australia when I was living in New Zealand. I took a year out when I was living in New Zealand, and I had like quite a bunch of songs to go through and kind of pick which ones I want to record. But it had to be whittled down really to 5 songs. And I had them 5 songs picked, and then this song, Round in Circles, this was only written back in February, so it was like a last minute thing to even record it. But yeah, like you said, it's definitely a vulnerable one, and it kind of came around really when I did some therapy last year, which was like honestly the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I was kind of getting pushed to do it for a while, like certain circumstances that have happened in my life previously, kind of just coming out and being honest and stuff, really, I guess. But I hadn't really thought of doing it, and then I ended up doing it. And then that song, there was a few songs that came out from doing therapy, really, that were inspired by that. But certainly this one, and I guess it's just about being. It's kind of the importance of like speaking to, as men to men these days, about your own mental health. I think it's like extremely important, like the world we're living in, I guess. And but I think there's like, it is a bit of it's quite a sad song, I guess, but there's always that hope, I think, that remains in it, and there's that other aspect and that other side of it where it's like there's good things and there's positives that come from bad things. But it's just literally about being able to speak to your mates on how you feel and your own mental health, I guess. And but no, it's I'm really chuffed with how it's gone. I mean, recording that in Australia, it was, for me, I don't know, maybe because it's fresh. I think you have all these songs that are maybe written like ages ago, and then you get a bit sick of them in somewhere. And then you had this new one, but Katia, who did the backing vocals on it, she just absolutely transformed the song. It was unbelievable. Just lifted that chorus so much. And I'm so happy with how it went. I worked with some really good people over there. Tim, the producer, as well. So it was. I felt like I stepped it up a little bit in terms of everything, really, production and the engineer I was working with. Really, really happy with it, and happy with the other songs as well that we've done. So well chuffed.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, as we said, there's obviously like the first song first single release, I should say, in about a year. But just on Round in Circles, was it quite an easy song for you to write? Did it come quite quickly?
Very quick.
Was it quite? And was it quite difficult as well to get from what you were just saying there, like about the sort of like the meaning behind the song? So was it quite difficult to be able to to get that out when you first got to writing it?
I don't. I think because at the time, obviously, you're going through therapy anyway, so your emotions are quite high, and you feel as though you. I felt as though with that one, it did fall out the sky, if you like, and
Yeah.
I could write it pretty quickly. I knew what I wanted it to say and how it to come across, and I think even with the recording as well, I worked with a guy called Jan, the engineer, and he just absolutely pushed everything emotionally out of me. I think he was quite big on like psychology and like tapping into
Right.
that side of things. So being able to get my performance right for each song and stuff like that. But no, it did definitely come quicker. It's funny actually. Who I was living with at the time in my flat, um, Will, he never played guitar, and obviously I was playing all the time.
Yeah.
So he's like, right, I'm going to buy a guitar, and he's playing around. He got really into it, so he's just playing like a few chords and stuff like that. And then the two chords for the verse that he was playing them, and like obviously literally picked up a guitar for a month, and that's where I've started that song off. So you couldn't write it, honest. And then went on to get on the chorus and stuff. But now super happy with how it's turned out. It definitely for me it felt as though it was a standout song, I think, and probably the same for Tim, who I worked with over there. Yeah, yeah, we're really happy. But that's another little mad story as well. Tim, I met him in Thailand, and we did a demo together on another song. And then when I went to New Zealand, we kept in touch and stuff. And I loved working over there, so I ended up. That's why I flew out to Byron Bay to meet back up with him and do an EP properly.
Right, right. Oh, okay. So that does take me on then to the next question. Obviously, you've mentioned there. Obviously, you went over to Byron Bay. Obviously, there in Australia. So it sounds like from there then that you have got an EP that's going to be on the way at some point in the near future.
Yeah, definitely. We did 5 songs. It was a busy week, very busy week, but yeah, we've got another 4 songs to release from there as well. Yeah, definitely. Super happy with all of them as well. There's a couple of songs on there that are more of a full band songs,
Right.
that aren't so much the maybe indie acoustic folky sort of thing that I've been doing on the previous single. So there is a couple of a couple of different sound of songs, and then there's a couple more that are just acoustic sort of stripped back.
Yeah, sure, sure. And obviously we just mentioned at the top of the show, obviously about the gigs that you've just done, like over the the last sort of 2 or 3 days, and stuff. So then you're talking about maybe you've got a couple of like full band songs as well. So is that going to sort of transpire to future live shows that it's going to be a full band, or is it just going to be yourself?
Yeah, that is the plan. So I'm trying to get a band together now, which is it's looking likely. I've got pretty much a full band sorted. I think we just need to get in the rehearsal rooms and get cracking. But yeah, pretty much getting sorted with it. But I'll still definitely do the solo gigs as well. I think
Yeah.
it's just some gigs will be easy for me to do that if say people are on different shifts and stuff like that. But no, yeah, I think there's definitely. I think that's why I've released Round in Circles first as well, because there's a couple of songs on the EP that will come out which I wouldn't like to do just by myself. Definitely not. It won't sound great. I've already tried them.
Brilliant, great stuff. Okay, so we're just gonna sort of from the present, we're gonna go all the way back to the very, very beginning. Kind of like then. So can you maybe remember like what was your first musical memory? Maybe even like a particular song or maybe a band. Can you remember like maybe listening to like when going back maybe when you was like a little kid?
Yeah, truthfully, probably Busted or something like that. Year 3000 or something. I don't know. But no, I think when I first started getting properly into music was like I used to love James Morrison. I remember, and like Paolo Nutini, and
Yeah.
I think that's probably like where my voice has like come from a little bit. I think maybe, and yeah, but yeah, I mean, I listen to loads of music now. Like I love Fleetwood Mac. But yeah, I mean, what I try and do the most now as well is like I love listening to like bands coming through and stuff. Like I'm a massive fan of like there's so like as you know doing what you do. There's so much talent around. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous,
there
isn't it?
is. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, but that is the best thing about it, I guess. And but yeah, I definitely try and stay current and stuff and like listen to upcoming stuff and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, Kind of like then, who or what inspired you to go and pick up a guitar for the first time, and then how sort of quickly from that did you then develop into sort of start writing your own music?
So I've been playing guitar now for what, probably only like 5 or 6 years or something like that,
Right.
maybe
Okay.
6 years. So it's pretty late to pick it up, but I think probably just like I'd always loved to do it because I've always been a massive music fan, but it's just the confidence of doing it, I think so. But yeah, I finally picked one up maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was when I think it was in Australia. I did a year out in Australia as well when I was quite a few years ago. And yeah, I met some guys who were playing and stuff like that, and that kind of inspired me. And then when I got back home, I bought a little ukulele. I
Nice.
soon got sick of that after a while, and then got a guitar. Um, and then I think I posted a couple of clips online, and then there's a guy I went to school with called Josh West, who's a really good mate of mine now, and we ended up forming a band pretty much. And I went into it like not a clue what I was doing really, but I think that was the best. That was the best thing for me because I was just in at the deep end. But I just fell in love with it instantly. There's not a day that goes by where I don't play guitar or like think about something musically or something. So I guess it's one of them things you just fall in love with sometimes, to be fair, and then you can't put it down. But yeah, I mean, I was writing lyrics and stuff when I was in the band Velvet, but then after that came to an end, I've just picked up the guitar really and tried to write songs just myself with acoustic. So which has been good as well. Like I think I've like found, because we were dead Britpoppy, it was like real Britpoppy, like full
Yeah.
band sort of sound. So it's been kind of nice, like being able to go back to my roots a little bit with what I like grew up listening to and play that sort of thing. But no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, sure. And kind of like as well then, can you obviously just remember mention Busted there? I'm wondering whether or
Yeah.
not if they were your the first band or an artist that you went and saw live.
I definitely seen Busted. I've been asked this before. Who was the first band I seen? And honestly, my memory that to go that far back is terrible. I've definitely seen Busted live 100%. So it might have been Busted or something like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know, or another cringy one, maybe James Blunt or something like that. one or the other. But yeah, but yeah. Always love going to gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, you definitely you can't beat it really. Obviously, it's great, sitting there at home and being able to listen to, obviously like your latest releases and obviously the other, artists that are out there. But I think actually getting out there and seeing bands live, I think especially at sort of like, this grassroots level in particular, I think, it's you can't beat it. And I think certainly from the people that I've sort of spoken to, they're the artists, I mean, they really appreciate people coming out at this at this stage, and hopefully there's going to be a few that are going to hopefully break through onto the into the sort of mainstream, I guess, for want of a better word. So yeah, you can't beat it.
It's amazing, mate. Like it blows my mind how many people are actually doing it. Like when you actually get into it and stuff like that, and you see how much, like obviously you'll know yourself, you interview so many people and you're involved with it, and like the amount of people, there must be just more and more, isn't it? It's just growing, isn't it? Like there's just more and more bands. It's crazy. Like trying to keep up with everyone. It's funny. Like I'd follow someone on Instagram or something. I'd see someone who I quite like, and they might have like 30,000 followers, but I've never heard of them before. Do you know what I mean? It's just like it's mad, isn't it? It's like there's that many people doing it. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been doing this for what must be nearly 3 years, I think now. And even in that time, kind of as what you're saying there yourself, how many bands and artists that you become aware of, but also as well like, oh, wasn't aware of them, and as you say, have they got that many followers or streams or whatever? But yeah, I think it's a really, really exciting time, and long may it continue, really.
Yeah, 100%, definitely.
So obviously you've been a solo artist since 2021. Obviously, briefly mentioned the band that you were in before, but obviously looking at your solo stuff, you sort of really made a really flying start with the debut single called "Broken Youth." If you haven't heard it yet, it's a fantastic tune. It's already racked over 27,000 streams on Spotify. So kind of like when you look back on those figures, did you ever imagine when you wrote that song that you would ever achieve, you know, such a great response for a debut single?
No, not really, to be fair. I don't know why. I think maybe because it's quite controversial and stuff. There's some controversial lyrics. I mean, it's such a simple song. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think maybe just because lyrically it's quite controversial and it touches on like quite current. So I think I released it right at the right time.
Yeah.
Because I think that debate was going on with like social media and stuff at the time. Was it during Was it like around the lockdown?
Yeah, I
When was
think
it?
yeah, yeah. I can't
Yeah,
off the top of my head, I can't remember the date, but it must have been looking at the year. Yeah.
yeah. So everyone was on the phone a lot and stuff like that. So I think maybe that's why it went down a bit of a treat. But no, I must admit, like that song does my head in now a bit. Still play it.
Off out of the set list is not.
Still play it, to be fair. But you know, one of them ones where you've played that many times, and but
Yeah,
no, like you said, for a debut single to do that well and stuff, it is class. It's unreal. I didn't expect it to get that many streams.
yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
quite, yeah, obviously fantastic to see. And
yeah,
obviously, sort of moving on to sort of a couple of singles down the line. Jump the Gun.
yeah,
Again, brilliant song. I think that was sort of my entry point, I think, into your solo stuff.
yeah,
And obviously that featured in the documentary about the rise of XFM, which was called Kick Out the Jams.
yeah,
So kind of like there's sort of two questions here, really. First of all, can you sort of tell us a little bit about the song,
yeah.
and how did you find out that you was being included in the documentary?
Yeah, so the song came about actually. I was at my mate's house and we were on a few drinks and we were just talking about couples moving in so quickly together. Oh, shit, pretty much.
Yeah,
It was just kind of like, yeah, I guess that like period where you get people who move in so quickly and then before you know it, the brand new house is gone and they've split up pretty much and gone their own way. So it's literally around that pretty much, and I just kind of wrote a song around that. But the Kick Out the Jams thing that just came from Songbird, obviously who I work with closely.
yeah,
So I've got a lot to thank them for. Sally pretty much put my tune forward, I think, and then I got an email to say that it was going to go on, and that was it. But no, that was class. That was like I've never had anything. Well, in my old band we had something a little bit similar, but this was much better. So no, we were absolutely well chuffed with it. To be fair, I didn't get a chance to watch the documentary with me being over in New Zealand because it was on
yeah.
Sky, and then when I got back, I managed to watch it. Yeah, so it's actually I think it's on as Ricky Gervais is speaking, so that's pretty cool.
Brilliant. Yeah,
Pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, obviously being alongside him as well, obviously amazing, and it is a really
yeah,
good documentary. Actually, I must admit, I've watched it a couple of times.
yeah, yeah. It's class.
Yeah, it is definitely. It's really interesting to understand how it all started, and hopefully there might be someone else out there that might break through like that as well in the future with a bit of luck. But kind of like as we have sort of touched on in the podcast so far, obviously here at This Is the Music, we like to shine a light on unsigned bands and artists like yourself that are obviously trying to establish themselves on the new music scene. So kind of like over the sort of last 6 to 12 months type of thing. What bands or artists have you been listening to that are on that sort of grassroots type of scene?
How many do you want? There's so many, isn't there? There's so many. Wow, I'm trying to think who I listen to. I think I love I tell you who I really like, and she's obviously starting to make waves a little bit, but I love Brooke Combe.
Yeah, she's doing great.
I think she's doing really well. She's class, and obviously she's getting a bit ahead of the game, I think, now, isn't she? I'm trying to think of other people. I know, like Luke. Have you heard of Luke Roy? I know he's from near me, and he's been doing unbelievable things.
Right. Okay. No, the name doesn't ring a bell, but I think I'm definitely going to check that one out. Oh, so check.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, he's well worth a listen. It's such a blend of genres, and he's doing really well. He's getting massive, loads of players from Radio One and stuff, so he's doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. There's a guy. Actually, there is a guy doing this now. Hang on, I'm gonna get my phone out because there's that many Spotify, there's that many artists on Spotify.
Yeah.
Tom Harrington. I've been listening now.
Right.
I think he might be from Australia or something. Yeah, he is. He's from Australia. Yeah, definitely worth a listen. Yeah, singer-songwriter sort of vibe to it. But
yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, obviously, Brooke, obviously, we mentioned I'm aware of, but Luke and Tom there, I think there's a couple of artists there for me to definitely go and check out, which is what it's all about, really. Obviously, we've been saying throughout this that, you know, how much is out there that some of it you've not even heard of, some you have. You know, it's just how it is, isn't it? Really.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's like I was saying before. It's the stats that like I can't get my head around. Like I'll like listen to someone or like follow someone on Instagram or whatever, and they've got like fair few thousand followers, and like you've never heard of them at all. And it's like that just shows how many people are in the game. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree with you more, really.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to throw some quick fire questions. Well, I hope they'll be quick fire. I don't know. We'll soon find out. So the first question is, one item that you couldn't live without.
Doing my guitar, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm not even going to ask why. I think that's a fairly straightforward reason as to why, right?
Yeah, or maybe a phone, but I don't want to say a phone. We'll go with guitar.
Go guitar, okay. Brilliant. Okay, so this is sort of a TV related question.
Right.
So if you could go on any TV show as a contestant, what show would you choose and why?
God, I'm not good at these quick fire ones. Which show would I go on and why? I go on Peaky Blinders. Yeah, I go on Peaky Blinders because everywhere I go, wherever I travel, everyone says I've got a Peaky Blinders trim. So I'm going for Peaky Blinders.
Brilliant. I must admit, I actually love that show, but I think the last two series, I think it is, I've not actually seen, and I need to grab the remote in my house and sit down and binge watch it, I think.
Yeah. No, it's so good, isn't it? I love it, to be fair. I've watched the last two series as well, yeah. Class.
Yeah, no, absolute class. So what is your favourite film?
My favourite film? No, that is a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go with The In-Betweeners.
Classic. Absolute classic. Yeah. I mean, obviously the first two films spot on, weren't they?
Yeah, class. I love the series as well, to be fair. Maybe not the film, but even the films are class as well. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna go In-Betweeners.
Yeah, cult viewing, I think, for that age group. Bang, got it absolutely right, didn't they? And who would be going to go back with a musical question with this one? So who would be in your fantasy supergroup? Either we'll open it up so it can either be dead or alive as it is, just for a bit of fun.
Yeah, we'll go Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I love Fleetwood Mac, to be fair, and I think like probably the past few years I've listened to like all the back catalogue stuff for them and stuff. They're so good. Like the melodies and stuff are so good. So I'll go with Stevie Nicks.
Great answer. So we've obviously across the podcast so far, I've obviously spoken about rounding circles and obviously some of the achievements that you've back in sort of 2021, 2022 and all of that sort of stuff. But kind of like then, we're sort of just over the halfway point of this year, which has blown my mind, to be perfectly honest. So what are your plans for the rest of 2023?
I guess just keep writing and try and, obviously I was saying to you before, want to get a full band together, sorry. So yeah, that's going to be probably the biggest on the list, I think. Want which is probably going to help me progress quicker. It'll just sound so much bigger, I think, especially with some of the new songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep writing, keep playing loads of shows and stuff. I've got some more gigs to announce and stuff soon, so keep going with that. And yeah, just keep pushing it as much as I can. I think like the past year and stuff, it made me realise how important it is for me to be just doing this anyway, just to be writing and stuff. And it's almost therapy in itself for me to be able to create musically and stuff and write lyrics and put together songs and stuff like that and work with, I love being able to work with other musicians as well. So I think like definitely like further on down the line, there'll be more collaborations and stuff. And yeah, just keep going with it, I think. Keep enjoying it and stuff. And yeah, I guess you kind of get hooked with it, I think, and then you can't stop.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, it obviously sounds like it's going to be a really exciting and busy time for you, and I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes peeled on your socials for for listening out for the gig announcements, and hopefully you might come down to my neck of the woods as well at some point. And
I hope so, man.
It'd be great to come and have a few beers with you as well. And obviously, as we mentioned earlier as well, it sounds like you got an EP in the works as well. So fingers crossed that comes to fruition as well a little bit later on in the year. But Jack, that is the end of the This Is the Music Meets podcast. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with me and letting me know, just find out a little bit more about what makes you work as a solo artist. As I say, I've really enjoyed it. But just before I do let you go, can you let the This Is the Music listeners know what social media platforms they can find you on?
Yeah, it's easy. It's just Jack Rasmussen Music. Rasmussen is Rasmussen, because I know people won't be able to spell it. I have that trouble all the time. So yeah, Jack Rasmussen Music on Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere. So the amount of people who've like can't find you anywhere, and I'm like, I'll just spell it out for you.
Brilliant. Yeah. For those that are watching this on YouTube, Jack's spelling is down there somewhere on the bottom of the screen. So just in case, but we are going to include those links in the episode bio as well, just to make it a little bit easier for everyone. Jack's new single, as I say, is called Round in Circles. That is out now across all streaming and download platforms. If you haven't given it a listen yet, I highly recommend that you do, because it is a truly brilliant track. And it's full of emotion, and sort of gives you a bit of an idea of what Jack has been, not going through, but his sort of discussion around mental health and stuff like that, which I think is really important to be talking about. Jack, as I say, thanks very much for coming on the podcast. I really wish you big success with everything that you've got coming up. And as I say, thank you very much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me, mate. I've really enjoyed it, and it's nice to put a face to a name. It's been a while, a long time coming.
Absolutely, definitely, and likewise with yourself, and look forward to catching up with you somewhere down the road.
Thanks, mate.
And all that leaves me to say is to thank everyone for watching the latest This Is the Music Meets podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss out on any future episodes. And if you are loving the podcast, then please give us a 5-star rating and written review, as it really does help the musicians, bands, and artists that we interview to be discovered. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again very soon.